Robert, you've said before that it can be quite sort of uncomfortable and frustrating to be a filmmaker in America because everything's so profit-led. Mm-hmm. Do you feel any of that pressure with Nosferatu?
Yeah, for sure. I do. I attempted to make my most accessible movie. I don't know if I succeeded, but I think, what is lucky for me, though, is that, one of the things that tends to work and tends to actually get greenlit in this difficult market that we have right now, in this difficult phase we're going through in the industry, is that genre films, they get made. And if you are willing to take the time to use the genre as a way to explore more interesting ideas, you can still make personal films, that work in that way. If you're not interested in genre, though, then that's a shame, because we as much as I love watching new horror movies all the time, there should be space for other kinds of storytelling.
Absolutely.
And aside from sequels too.
Absolutely. And Bill, you've done quite a few intense roles, and I think Count Orlok is quite an intense one as well. Do you carry all of these characters with you, or how do you let go of Pennywise and Eric from The Crow?
The big suitcase in my heart. Yeah, I mean, you carry them with you, and I feel like every character that you do or that I do is a form of a relationship that me as Bill has with this other character that is also it becomes very intimate, and then once the movie's done, it's a tiny little death, the relationship is over, this thing that you've been obsessing about for so long, like in a relationship, you don't have to obsess about anymore, and there's a sadness in that. Now with Orlok, it was also a genuine relief that I could separate the shackles that he had on my soul for the duration of the shoot. It was very intense. But he's in here. He's in here.
But this isn't the first time you've played kind of like a vampire-like character, because in Hemlock Grove, Roman is not a vampire, but vampire-like.
Yeah.
Were you able to kind of revisit that character to get more into Orlok?
No, not at all. But yeah, he was also a vampire, and but what was so refreshing about this vampire, this Orlok, is that it's unlike a vampire that we've seen. It's a truly Transylvanian folkloric version of what a vampire could be, with as much of historical accuracy as Robert puts into all of his movies. So it was very refreshing and fun. Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine.
Fun, but yeah, fun. fun.
And when you're remaking something as iconic as Nosferatu, what's the balance of repeating what's been done before and then something new and paying homage to that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a question I get asked a lot, and it makes sense because it's a good question. But it is so hard to say because you just kind of have to trust your instinct. But I think my hope was that I just have so much respect and like genuine awe towards the original film that I wouldn't do something damaging. There is one spoiler-filled aspect of Bill Skarsgård's design as the vampire that occasionally upsets people, but I would let them look at pictures of Vlad the Impaler and read the introduction of Dracula in the book for them to decide for themselves.
And we like to highlight underrated films at Film Stories. So what's an underrated film that everyone should see at least once?
Bill?
No.
I'm putting you on the spot.
No. I was like, thank God I'm here with Robert.
I mean, I think this film is not underrated in the horror nerd or cinephile community, but at large, the Jack Clayton's The Innocents from the early 60s was perhaps the biggest cinematic influence on this aside from Nosferatu, and you know, I think it is one of the few Gothic ghost stories that is still has like enough electrical charge that like a normal everyday person would still really enjoy this movie that they probably have never seen before.
Thank you very much both.
Thank you.
And again, congratulations on Nosferatu.